Okay, we're going to get started now. I gotta tell you guys, this is really going to be one of the best webinars you're ever going to see. Frankie is going to show you what you need to know to win big at creating a successful practice. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to presenter Frankie Finn. He's a featured author for Attorney at Law magazine. He's helped his clients on Oprah and Dr. Phil make over $20 million in client fees, and he's also a good friend. Frankie, take it away.
Well, thank you, Tom, for that incredibly kind and amazing introduction. Today we're going to be talking about the topic of all topics, which is really the 5 steps to a 7-figure law practice and really beyond that. And these are really the secrets of the best attorneys that I've kind of got the chance to work with, the John Morgans and the Ken Hardisons and lots of 7, 8, and 9-figure lawyers, market leaders, many of which you've heard of and some others which you won't have. And I don't tell you that to brag or anything like that, though. The whole point of saying that is I want you to understand this is not theory or fluff. These are not good ideas. This is stuff that's real world proven again and again and again. And so if it's okay with you guys, I know you're probably used to a lot of webinars where there's a big preamble. They take a really long time to get to the point. But I know you're lawyers, you're super busy, and I highly value and respect your time. So is it okay if we just go ahead and get going? Okay, good. The one thing I just want to warn you of really quickly is that this goes against most of the common advice, and you're going to see in a second that most of the common advice being taught to lawyers has a really big fatal flaw built into it. Okay, so it's really important just before we begin that I just ask that you be present for this. So what do I mean by that? I mean, turn off the distractions, your phone, your Skype, your email, close the door if you need to. Give yourself a quiet space just to really be present with this, because this is really going to be some of the most valuable information you could ever really get in your law practice. And so I think for that reason, it's highly, highly worth your time. And who is this for? Really quickly, this is for lawyers or anybody who's a manager or partner of a law firm. So if you're an accountant and you stumbled here by accident, you probably get some good ideas, but you're better served, boring people to death or whatever it is that accountants do. So if you're here, you should be involved in a law practice. So in the next 60 minutes, let me just tell you really quickly what you're going to discover is how to turn your legal expertise into a 7-figure income. And that's even if that number sounds completely over the top, even if that sounds completely unbelievable or unrealistic for where you're at right now. I'm going to show you how to generate premium clients on demand and get those clients at the price point you want, or if you're in a contingency area of practice, to get the higher end clients and cases. And the key word there is premium. So I want to show you how to get those kind of people. You'll also discover really how to get a continuous flow of clients, and this will create a sort of build up in momentum in your practice so that you're not starting over every month like so many lawyers do. Also going to show you how to do this in a way that actually leverages your time. So you'll end up with what so few lawyers do, which is choice and freedom. Now that's different for different people. You may actually enjoy practicing and want to manage cases. Some people do. Some people want to get out of law entirely, and some people just want to live a great life. It's really up to you, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that's highly leveraged so you get the choice to do what you want to do. And of course, you're going to discover how to do this in the simplest and most effective way without all the stuff you hear people, you gotta blog and you gotta tweet and you gotta Facebook and you gotta be on Avo and you gotta do social media and you gotta go to networking meetings and on and on and on. I'm gonna show you how to do it without all that extra build up and fluff that really, for the most part, doesn't work. So my promise to you today, if you stay with me for the next 45 minutes, you'll get a proven step-by-step system to create a 7-figure law practice and beyond that. And also, I should point out, there's nothing for sale here today. I do have a very cool gift for you. It's a checklist. This is just something that we give to clients. It's $197 value, and it's just a tool that will help you actually implement these action items. We don't normally sell this. If I did, I would probably charge $200 for it, but it's going to be highly valuable for actually making this so that you can implement this information and actually get the benefits of it. So let me ask you really quickly, does this sound like you? You have some months where the cash and clients pour into your law practice, but you cannot seem to maintain it. Or does this sound true? Do you start out every month wondering where the clients are going to come from? Or how about this one? Do you secretly know your work is worth more than you're charging, but you're afraid if you raise your prices, no one's going to pay them? Or how about this? Are you taking on work and clients that aren't a good fit just because you're afraid to turn them away because, frankly, you need the money? Or how about this one? Do you see other lawyers who are more successful than you and you wonder how they did it? Or Are you working way too hard in your law practice, meaning too many hours, burning yourself out, never really getting ahead to your goals? And let me ask you, have you also tried different ways to get clients, probably buying leads, PPC, SEO, AVO, at least one of those, and you found that none of them really have worked consistently month after month for you? Well, all of these are symptoms of a much bigger problem. And the big problem that's really happening, does it really feel like there's an invisible income ceiling? Like you cannot seem to get past that. So I have really, really good news for you if that's your experience. Because if this is how you feel, the good news is none of those are the real problem. In fact, the real problem is because you haven't made these 5 shifts. And I'm going to walk you through these right now. And the 5 shifts, once you really make these, you're going to be able to generate premium clients on demand. So push of a button, you can get premium clients. You'll be able to choose your income and your hours worked. And so as a result, what are these 5 shifts going to do for you? You'll also be able to attract the superstar associates, people who are going to make you look great while you sit back and you only have to do the work that you really want to do in your practice. For some of you, that will be nothing, and some of you actually may enjoy that. And so the net result really is that your income is going to go up, your work's going to go down, and the big fear in doing that is, the client results will suffer. I'm going to show you how to do this in a way that the client happiness and the client results actually go up in the process. So they get a better experience and your income goes up, but there's so much less pressure on you to do it. And so the net result is you're going to get choice to run your law practice as you want. So the one thing you need to know is that these 5 simple shifts will make it so you're going to be able to work less and at the same time get better results for your client. Sound good? So I'm going to walk you through these exact 5 shifts right now. Just really quickly, I want to just tell you who I am. As Tom mentioned, I'm a writer for Attorney at Law magazine, which is the biggest in our industry. I've helped my clients on Oprah and Dr. Phil, and really I've got a chance to work with a who's who of lawyers, make over 20 million and counting. And really my specialty is helping lawyers break through income barriers, give them that true freedom and flexibility so you actually have a life, not just a law practice. And what's extremely interesting, the reason I tell you that is I get a chance to work with really hundreds of lawyers firsthand, thousands of lawyers, and I've really just met so many people. And why are some lawyers so successful and not others? And it's a really interesting question because I've seen the top 1% guys who make 7, 8, 9 figures and do it in a way where they're highly leveraged and have time and freedom and have actually good lives, not just good law practices. And then I see people who are moderately successful. They'll add 100,000 to their income for the year and they'll improve their results. And then I see people who can't hack it and can't flop. And what really makes the difference? That's a really interesting question. And it's really because of these 5 shifts. These 5 shifts are what you have to make, or you must make, for your law practice to get to 6 figures per month and beyond, and doing it in a way where you actually have freedom. So I'm going to walk you through them right now. And the first shift you have to make is to operate with total integrity. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, your practice is like a mirror. And so it really doesn't matter how good your marketing is. You never, ever, ever, ever want to let a client do something that isn't in their own best interest. That means you want to be the best. It also means if you really want premium clients, you must become a premium client yourself. If you really want happier, healthier, more decisive premium clients, you have to be one yourself. So the second shift that you absolutely must make is to actually position for premium clients. So what do I mean by this? Well, there's only 2 reasons you're not already charging premium pricing, or if you're in a contingency area, focusing on the highest value cases and clients. One is that you feel like you're not worth it and you need to practice, X number of years, more years before you're actually ready. Or you think if you do, you're going to scare clients away who, frankly, just aren't going to pay or aren't going to, take that scenario. So what's really, really bad about this, if you do this wrong, where you position for the wrong clients, you'll be like this guy. So this is a guy in my local area. He's doing wills for $85. Not only is he going to get people who only care about price, they're going to be, largely pain in the ass clients, and they're going to want to be their own attorney, and they're going to get the least benefits, and he's going to be very busy managing these people to do $85 wills. So that's the bad way of positioning. So did you realize that there's only 3 ways potential clients are seeing you? The first is what we call Gerry Generalist. Now this is a real website, and obviously I have removed the sensitive information. But this is a guy who does, family law and divorce, personal injury, estates, wills, and probate. Now, what's really interesting about this is if I have a really big personal injury case and I'm a client, do you think I'm really going to bring it to somebody who also does divorce? And if I have a really big divorce and it's really important, do you think I'm also going to bring it to somebody who does personal injury? Probably not. And what we find is statistically with this kind of positioning is Gerry Generalist is usually the lowest paid guy on the ladder. So there's a second level past Gerry Generalist, and that is what we call Stephen Specialist. Again, this is a real website, sensitive information omitted. And the specialist is obviously the one person who focuses on one specific type of client and obviously builds their marketing materials. And what we find is on average, the specialist makes about 4 times as much as the generalist. Now, what's interesting is most lawyers don't know there's actually a third level beyond that. And that is what we call Cedric Celebrity-Authority. And again, real website. And Cedric Celebrity-Authority is the person who is a specialist but also has a celebrity status earned in their local market. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be a Kardashian or anything like that. It means just building it up so that your reputation with potential local clients precedes you in such a way where you have, this earned celebrity status. And what's really, really interesting is most lawyers have no idea that this can be manufactured on purpose. And there's generally 6 ways to do it. Some are easier than others. Get on TV, be in news and media, have a book, be interviewed, speak on stage, or really get endorsed by somebody else with credibility. And there's ways to actually specifically engineer that so that you become the celebrity authority. And so what happens when you get this right? Well, I was actually just with a client of mine, and in his local area, he is the celebrity authority. He's number one in his market. And it was just funny because we got mobbed on the streets, and we went for lunch, and we got mobbed, and people were taking photos, and he's like a total local celebrity. And so how difficult do you think it is for him to sign up cases when everybody's already heard of him, and he's the trusted guy in the market? Not very hard. Now, what most lawyers don't realize is this does not require a big TV budget. It does not require being number one. In fact, you can do this with a small group of premium clients and do it in a way where, you're positioned specifically as the celebrity just to them. And you know what happens, what most lawyers don't realize is really, like I said, that this effect can be replicated on purpose. It's actually cheap and easy to do, and it has massive effects. So let me ask you, where are you now on the celebrity status ladder to your potential clients? How do they see you? Do they see you as a generalist or a specialist, or do they see you as a celebrity? And are you positioning for those premium clients right now? Third thing is, this is going to sound kind of harsh, but is what we call a universal message. And the harsh part is really clients don't care about you, in fact, at all. And to show you how bad this actually is, if you don't believe me, well, I did a search for I hate my lawyer, and guess how many results there were in Google? 30.8 million. So more than 1 or 2. So 30.8 million people have actually typed in I hate my lawyer. 30.8 million websites have actually say on the words there, I hate my lawyer. And it is actually worse than this because I looked at the related searches, and there was, can I sue my lawyer? Can I fire my lawyer? My lawyer lied to me. My lawyer's taking too long. My lawyer overcharged me. My lawyer won't return my calls. My lawyer is not fighting for me. Generally speaking, this reputation for lawyers being bad people, and we all know that for the most part, most lawyers actually want to help people, but regardless, is actually working against us with most clients, and it's something that we have to learn how to address. And so the stakes, when you actually get this principle right, this shift right, you have an experience like Gerry. Gerry's a med mal attorney from New York City, a good friend of mine, and Gerry really is living life on his terms. In fact, he doesn't even practice law anymore. He just subs out all his cases for referrals, and he's able to do that on the power of a universal message. So he really gets to make the big income and doesn't really have any work at all to do. And when you get this wrong, you'll be perceived as, well, he's just another lawyer, right? And that's the worst place you ever want to be perceived, because clients will see you as, another lawyer who's, they find difficult to deal with, and obviously you already know what the general public sees in lawyers. So the warning is, if you do this the old way, what'll happen is, if you don't have a universal message, people are going to tell you have to cover this up with activity. And that means doing Facebook, doing Twitter, buying leads, referrals, networking, blogging, LinkedIn, a book, word of mouth, on and on and on, in endless activities. And none of those are a good way of doing it. And the worst part is, if you do that long enough, maybe you'll get some clients. Like it takes a long time before it pays for itself. So the old way, where people tell you, is to do a lot of busy work. Just do a whole lot of stuff, and some of that stuff's going to stick. I'm going to tell you right now that that's dead wrong. And so What's lacking is actually the lack of a universal message. And so this is one that actually just showed up on my Facebook news feed. I blocked the sensitive information. This is a generalist positioning. Showed up in my Facebook news feed. Never mind that they're in Fresno, California. I mean, I'm in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, which is 5 minutes from Detroit, Michigan. So I'm close enough to hear the gunshots from Detroit. And but if you actually look at this is a really boring message. It's all about them. I don't see why I would have any interest in it. It's really just, all about the attorney. So this bad ad is really what I see 99% of lawyers doing. It's, some kind of the lawyer name or the practice name, a slogan about how they're experienced, a list of areas of practice, and then just basic details, address, website, phone number. Here's how to contact us. And the reason why that's bad is because this coalesces into lawyers starting to use same message. And so I did a search in my local area in Detroit for personal injury attorneys. And this is everybody just telling me on the first page of Google that injured, no fees unless you win. And so this is like a mishmash of them all together. Now, if that looks overwhelming on your eyes, just imagine how that is to a potential client. How are they supposed to choose when 10, 12 lawyers are all saying the same thing? And here's this same search. This is everybody telling me their experience and they're going to get results. And I just got tired of copying and pasting them because you kind of get the idea. But this is like literally everybody saying the same thing. Now, let me ask you, why is this a bad thing? Because what do clients really care about? And the answer is, I really, it's very simple, but I was working with a lawyer I work with who signs up 1,500 cases per month. That's not a typo. In fact, I almost had to turn that number down because it sounds so unbelievable, but he really does sign up 1,500 cases a month. And he was talking to really a group of us, and he said, really, what's the most important word in any ad? And, of course, he's like an old Yoda, so everybody paused and listens to the guy who signs up 1,500 cases a month. And the group itself is filled with, some of the really the best guys who are the biggest in their state and on and on. And the answer was you, right? Like a client cares about themselves and their problems. So he said, he does personal injuries. So, it's your pain, your suffering, your lost wages, your medical bills. That's what a client cares about, is themselves. And so when you realize clients only care about themselves, it's very, very important to create a message that is you-centric about the client. And so if you do this wrong, you'll have the bad message that, if I show you those other messages, what you'll notice is it's really all about the lawyers. Whoops, I think I may have broken my PowerPoint. So there we go. So they use a lot of words like we, us, I. They really talk about themselves and what they do. And to do this correctly, we actually want to focus 5 times as much on the words you and your as we do us, we, and I. And so let me show you an example of a good message. This is a lawyer who completely dominates his market. He's the biggest in his area. And all he does is say, hey, if you actually watch the video, which obviously you can't do because I got out of the slides, but he basically says, you probably have a lot of questions. You've been injured in an accident. There's a lot of things you want to know. And so I put all the answers in this book, and you can go ahead and grab a free copy right here. And that's his whole sales pitch, the entire thing. And it doesn't involve saying we'll fight hard, we're experienced. And this is a guy, again, who's leading his entire market with a very you-centric message. So I want to show you an example from a friend of mine. And if you live anywhere in the southeastern United States, you will have heard of this man. His name is John Morgan. And what's really, really interesting about this ad is I want you to watch around the 15-second mark. Now, John Morgan, actually, by the way, he told me when we were talking that they sign up $500 million with a B, not an M, $1 billion in cases every year. And so, obviously he knows what he's doing, and the biggest thing he's doing is you-centric advertising. And so what I really want you to pay attention to, I'm going to click play in this thing, and I want you to watch around the 15-second mark and what he does to involve you, the listener, in his commercial. So I'm just going to let you watch it right now, and we'll discuss it right after. If I can find the play button. There we go.
If you've been involved in an accident, it's so important that you hire your lawyer sooner rather than later. Things change. Witnesses' memories fade. Evidence disappears or is repaired. Time past is your enemy. For example, what color is my suit and tie? Am I wearing cufflinks and a handkerchief? Is Emma with me? Don't wait. Call today. Things change. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
So what you should have noticed in that commercial, it really involves you, the listener of the commercial, right? Like most personal injury commercials, if you watch them on TV, they kind of shout at you, have you been injured? We'll fight hard and we'll get you every penny you deserve. And it's all we, I, us. And, what we call speed and greed. And what's interesting is that, the biggest player in the market is not doing that at all. In fact, he's doing a very you-centric message and he's involving you, the listener of the commercial. So how would you like to do this? This is a guy, and I just found this video actually just doing some searches, and it's 5 secrets the insurance adjuster doesn't want you to know. Now, why is this interesting? Well, firstly, the reason it's interesting is because this guy had 30,000 free views on YouTube. That's with no paid traffic, no advertising, no SEO, no even promoting it at all. That's just posting a video with a great message. And so if he even got 1% of the people to pick up the phone and call him, which I'm sure it's a lot higher than that, means he signed up, or he's gotten 300 phone calls from one free video. And the power of that is based on a universal message. Now, why is that a universal message? Well, if you think about somebody in his area of practice, which is personal injury, somebody's just been injured in an accident, they're dealing with the insurance adjuster, and they're not quite sure whether they should trust him or not, right? So the most important thing is, what they're going through in their experience is this meeting with the insurance adjuster and 5 secrets the insurance adjuster doesn't want you, keyword you, to know. Obviously it's quite interesting, and you'll notice it doesn't say things like we are experienced or any of that kind of nonsense. So in summary, it's very important to realize clients only care about their own problems. And so it's very important that we talk about those. What most lawyers are doing, it's like, clients are coming in the door with a broken leg and we're trying to sell them the shininess of our ambulance. And what they really want is a solution to their leg pain. So we're going to come back to that after. I just want to quickly recap. Here's what we've covered so far. You need to operate with total integrity and doing what's actually best for the client at all times. You need to have celebrity positioning so that your reputation always precedes you. It makes signing up cases and clients so much easier. And you need to have a universal message. Now we're going to get into the pieces that are really designed to bring in scale and leverage, so that this isn't just kind of like a one-shot deal. And the fourth shift you really have to make is systems for referrals and repeat business. Now, you should already know with referrals, they're easier to deal with. If you think about your last referral client, did they not pay more? Were they not in the door easier? Was the whole thing not simpler to deal with? Well, we want to focus on doing that on purpose. So this is really interesting. One of my clients, they spend, depending on the month, between $250,000 and $300,000 a month in advertising, and they got over 100 employees. So the interesting question is, how do they get their business? And you would assume anybody who spends $250,000 to $300,000 that obviously it's TV ads and radio and billboards and whatnot. And if you assumed like me, you would be wrong, because 40 to 45% of their business actually comes from referrals. That's past client referrals. And then they get another huge portion from, related professionals and other lawyers. And so actually the bulk of their business is actually driven via referrals. And this is done very, very strategically, despite the fact that they're spending a huge amount of money on advertising. In fact, this is a study, I can't remember the name of the company they did. They created an infographic here. And they just interviewed a bunch of clients and they said, how did you choose your lawyer? And interestingly enough, you can see number 1 there is a friend at 13.6. Number 2 is internet search at 9.4. Number 3 is referral at 8.9%, and word of mouth 5.4. I kind of actually put a box around the wrong one, but I want you to notice, out of those first 4, did you see what's interesting? 3 of the 4 are actually referral systems. And so most lawyers I know have very little in the way of referral systems. And so what happens is, when you get this right, you'll have an experience like Raj. Raj is a friend of mine who practiced in San Francisco, and he's a business lawyer. And really, he went from practicing out of his own bedroom for 2 years and not really having any established clientele to, within just a couple of years, building a 7-figure practice that operated completely without him. I remember him telling me he spent almost 4 weeks in Africa with his family, didn't think about the practice once, and when he came back, it had grown because he had these referral systems in place. When you do this wrong, you have an experience like Eric. Eric's a personal injury lawyer I know in California. He's a great lawyer. He gets great results for his clients. They really like him. But because he has no referral systems, his practice never really builds up any flow. And so it's like he's starting over every month. And so I remember him telling me, I really need leads. I really need cases. I really need stuff. But after 25 years, because of no referral systems, his practice has never really built up any momentum, and so he's starting over every month. And so when you do it right, you'll have the experience like Raj, where it'll start to snowball, and you can disconnect from your own practice because you're intending the types of clients that come in the door. So I want you to compare this. The old way is really, I mentioned like the Eric way, where you're pushing the boulder up the hill and you're starting a brand new practice every month, and you're basically in need of new clients again and again and again. And the new way is to focus on getting your existing clients to bring you more business, so that every time you bring a new lead in the door, it starts to turn into more, right? Because people who refer, what do? Well, they refer more people, and it's easier for them to refer more people. And so having a system that does that, and doing that in a way where it doesn't feel like you're begging for business, is one of the smartest things you can ever do in your law practice. And it really, just does wonders for you. It's very important, though, that, it's not the client's job to refer. Most lawyers, what fatal mistake do they make? They actually falsely believe it's the client's job to refer, and they believe in the referral fairy, which is do a good job and I'll magically send you referrals. And so having a system means, your entire legal experience for that client, engineered from start to finish, is designed to create and facilitate referrals. And so it's done very systematically and done on purpose. So if you do this right, you'll be in a situation where your practice will start to build momentum, and you'll just know that next month there's going to be $50,000 or $100,000 in referral fees and referral cases and referral clients, because that's just how your practice runs before you even start. And so you'll experience a flow, and it makes getting leads and all that stuff so much easier, and you'll have a system for doing it. So that's the real key of getting that. And so, David is a friend of mine who also is a personal injury lawyer in California, and when he first started, he went bankrupt and was very nearly bankrupt a second time, working 80-hour weeks, could not get ahead, was just miserable in his practice. And when he started to really develop referral systems, he found that his practice not only got easier because the type of clients got easier, the matters themselves got bigger, so it was easier for him to collect higher fees and actually not have to do as much, and he could also hire people. And so this all came together for him in the form of, he used to only work 3 days a week, and he would go in the middle of the day with his wife to watch the movies. Now, how many lawyers do you know who have time to go watch movies 2 and 3 times a week with their wife? But that's what David did. And he was really within $50 of going bankrupt a second time. So this is the power of referral systems. It can go from the 80-hour miserable, stuck, cannot get good clients to that kind of freedom-oriented experience. So the old way is really focusing on lots of activities and always focus on needing more leads and clients and cases, and only really focusing on the front end, which results in starting over every single month. And when you do that, your practice is at any given time 1 to 3 months away from disaster, and even worse than that, because it's usually dependent on how many lead sources. Like if you're getting pay-per-click clients, what happens if pay-per-click prices doubled? For most lawyers, they would be screwed. And so the old way believes more than anything it's the client's job to refer and come back, and it does very little in the regard to systems and proactive ways of doing it. And so the good way is to really have 1 to 3 consistent lead sources, but also at the same time to be choosing the clients and cases that you actually want to work with, and building that continuous momentum via a referral system. And what will happen is when you do that, the practice can sustain itself indefinitely, because what happens? Well, referral clients, what do? They refer more, and when you have a system to do it, it just starts to build up and build up and build up, and there's very little that you have to do to keep it going. So the power of this system is very, very key, and the key shift is, believing it's my job to make referrals and repeat business happen using systems. Okay, so in summary, it's very important that you understand the smartest lawyers I know, especially the lawyers who actually have real freedom in their practice, they have marketing systems, and they have the idea of repeat and referral business in mind from the very beginning. They don't do a good job and hope for it. They're engineering referrals right throughout the entire client experience, and this is done very intentionally. Now, did you know average income for a lawyer $78,242. That's actually not a whole lot. And this is according to a company called PayScale that does third-party research on this. And at the same time, this is from the American Bar Association. There's a record that's saying there's more lawyers charging $1,000 an hour billing than ever before. And the real question we want to ask is, why is there such a discrepancy? How are some lawyers getting $1,000 an hour and most lawyers are making 78 grand or less? And why is the income gap there? The real problem is that most lawyers, the truth is they're simply unaware of better ways of doing things. So they don't even realize that solutions exist. They've been created by other lawyers smarter than all of us, that there's better, more efficient ways of doing things, that they can attract higher-end cases and clients, and they simply don't know what they don't know, and so they can't use it because they're so busy running a practice that they never get to notice it. So the bad way is the way I see this done wrong is an experience like Andrew. Andrew's a really sharp consumer credit attorney I know from Michigan, really good guy. In reality, though, Andrew was just so burnt out. And he told me, I just want out of practice. I'm working 80 hours a week. I have no personal life, stressed, mountain of debt, and really no amount of progress would fix it because he doesn't have enough money coming in to quite hire somebody. But, he's just really stuck where he's at. And that's the bad way of really running your practice. And the good way is Rob. Rob's a personal injury lawyer I know from Rhode Island. And what's interesting about Rob is Rob really had a small practice. He had 12 staff. He was struggling. He was the last guy to get paid in his practice. The money was simply not there, even though everybody else was getting paid. And what's interesting, in just 4 years, Rob went from 100 staff and being the biggest in his market. And here's the amazing part. Like I mentioned, he did this in less than 4 years, actually, and went from, being very small and humble to a giant. And Rob really employed more than anything this fifth shift, which is to invest in mentoring. He'll be the first to tell you what a change it's meant. I really, to be honest with you, I thought like mastermind meetings and all these kind of things were kind of dumb, to be honest. I'm like, why would somebody go to a mastermind meeting? And I really had my mind blown the first ever mastermind meeting that I got to go to. Firstly, because the caliber of lawyers there is so high. And what's interesting is the first 5 minutes, everybody showed their TV commercials, showed how they bought them, how they create the message, what they watch out for, what are the traps that most people get wrong. And in 5 minutes, I knew how to create a successful TV commercial, which was just mind-blowing, without having to reinvent the wheel, just understanding how to really find the formula and the template and apply it. And the next 5 minutes they spent discussing vendors who can do it and who's actually good and who to hire. And so within 10 minutes of my first mastermind meeting, I knew how to create a successful TV campaign and completely outsource the thing. And that's really the power of these kind of investing in mentoring, because you get to see what's working today from the best. And so as a result, it just drastically shortcuts your own learning curve and having to figure this out yourself. And so, there's also the power of association. Really, the mentoring, comes from the smartest and best and brightest people. And so, just by proxy, you start to learn those things. Another real thing is you get access to solutions, right? How many times have you been stuck on something? Well, in a really good mentoring situation, in 5 or 10 minutes, you'll have the solution and you'll be able to actually apply that in your own practice. And of course, there's other benefits like sharing and community. Laws, I've heard this from so many lawyers, it's such a notoriously closed field, right? Like, other successful lawyers are not going to tell you how they did it. And so for that reason, it's hard to figure out what's working. But when you get into mentoring things, there's actually a lot of sharing, there's a lot of community, and it's just really, really great for those reasons. And then the biggest thing is finding more efficient ways of doing things that are highly leveraged, that allow you to deliver clients great results. You get paid, and you have freedom in the process. So today, I promised you at the beginning of this webinar, I would show you how to turn your legal expertise into a 7-figure income. I'd show you how to generate premium clients on demand and how to generate a continuous flow of clients and leverage your time in the process. And we've been through it. We've been there and done that. So this should be really, really exciting right now. And what I wanted to show you more than anything is how to do that in the simplest and most effective way. And those are the 5 shifts that are the most powerful in doing this. Now, really right now, you have a choice to make, and that choice is between the easy way and the hard way. And the hard way is really taking this webinar and understanding, it's really good information, but then really just you take your notes and you chalk it up as good ideas, and you never really get it implemented for you in your practice. So even though it's good ideas, they're just good ideas, and they're not good ideas that are actually going to work for you. And so what I'd rather you do is the easy way and actually get this built, not as theory or information, but actually bring the best of the best into your specific practice. Because obviously your specific practice is different. And so what I'd like you to do is apply these ideas to your business right now. And the truth is that, obviously everybody's law practice is different. I can't tell you exactly what your specific issues are without, actually seeing what's going on. But you need to know how to apply these to your law practice so that you can actually get the benefits of them. And so we're more than happy to get on the phone with you. Our team set aside some time. We'll explain to you exactly what those next steps are for you. And the best part is obviously the cost is totally free. Now, here's the catch. Obviously, you're wondering why a free call to walk you through this. Obviously, it's not for everybody. And we don't deal with lawyers who are broke, or they already think they know it all, or they just not somebody who, takes action or don't listen or just have a bad attitude. Or if you only care about the money and not the clients, or you're whiners, or just, you don't take responsibility, or you just for whatever reason are ready now. And of course, no bad areas of practice, meaning, if you do wills for $85 and the guy down the street's willing to do them for $79 and you're looking to try and do it for $75, that's not a situation we can help you with. And of course, people looking for a quick fix who aren't looking for a permanent long-term solution. So obviously, you're probably wondering, why are we doing this? And it's really firstly so you can get total clarity on your goals and your next steps. So what kind of difference would that make for you to know what you actually need to do first, second, and third so that you can change your practice to the way you actually want it? And of course, if we decide on this actual call, when we help you with the next steps, if you're a good fit, you'll be invited to join our program. You can find out more details. Now, we only do that for specific people that we feel are a very good match, so it's not going to be for everybody. And it's really the same program that's designed to consistently, obviously make these 5 shifts, so you'll be able to generate premium clients on demand, turn that into repeat and referral business, and systematize your practice so, that you get freedom. Now, if you're on the fence just thinking about this right now, if you have any of these symptoms right now in your practice, then I will tell you right now this is an absolute must for you. So if you have an experience where you have not enough clients or leads coming in every month, or you're simply just working too hard and you're getting burnt out, or if you have crazy clients, meaning unreasonable ones who don't listen to you, or if you're trapped in your practice, meaning, like if you couldn't even take a day off for 2 days or a week because your practice would completely fall apart, or if you're the last one to get paid in your practice, or if you have low paying clients, like high pressure work, very little pay, or if you find that you have clients and things are going well, but they just aren't paying you and you're not getting your collection part of it, or if you simply just do not know where to start, or if you're in a situation where you're just sick of practicing law, you're burnt out, or you've hit the dreaded income ceiling, if you're experiencing any of those symptoms, then this is an absolute must for you. It's a total no-brainer. It's completely free, and there's no obligation to take the program if we do invite you anyway. So the next steps are, I want you to visit lawyerclients.com/apply, or there should be a button right below this video, big yellow button. You just want to click that button, and what'll happen next is you'll see this, and that's the first step. So all this will do is just schedule a time. It's just a calendar. You pick your time, and takes about 45 minutes. So you book a time on the calendar, and then next thing we'll do is we just ask you a couple questions about where you're at in your practice and where you're trying to go, and that's really it. It'll take you 30 seconds to fill that out. And so just again, to do that, you want to go to lawyerclients.com/apply, or click the button below this video. And that's really all I got for you today. I hope this was some of the best stuff you've ever seen, and may the force be with you. Frankie Finn, the Legal Marketing Jedi, over and out, and I will see you next time.